Captain Trip with Boat Test, and today I have the pleasure of being aboard the new Aquila 50. If you're familiar with Aquilas and you look at this vessel, you're going to notice the lines are a bit different. Well, they have increased the freeboard forward, and what that has done is it made a more attractive and more aggressive looking boat. That is something to see. Increasingly, cruising catamarans have been picking up popularity because of their stability and on-deck spaciousness. In the case of the Aquila 50, its beam is 10 foot greater than monohulls of similar length. Because of the wide stance of her twin hulls, these vessels are simply more comfortable offshore and even at anchor. That immense beam also makes the main deck, flybridge, entertaining and lounging spaces far greater than on conventional monohulls. Be sure to see our features video, which has a complete inspection of the boat. Now let's take a look at the performance and operational aspects of the boat, starting in one of the engine rooms. Under me, there's an access to the mechanical space with the engine and generator below. And sure, there is a generously sized access here, but more importantly, Aquila has thought that one step further. If you look, you can see a groove in a much larger hatch here, but there's no hinges. That's so you can access this space completely. You put on there and undo a few bolts, you can remove this entire hatch. That way, if you have to, let's say, repower the boat years down the line, or take out some large parts from the generator, or just replace the generator totally, you can remove this hatch easily and do that instead of having to literally cut the deck up like you have to do on some boats. All right, let's go down in here because there's plenty of room. As you can see, there's a lot of space, and there's a mirror image of this over on the starboard side. Now the star of this area is going to be the Volvo Penta D6, and its sister is on the other side as well because this boat is powered by two of them. Also two large fuel tanks, and if you see behind me, all the electrical wiring is well laid out, labeled. A lot of the wires are all in looms, which I do like to see. We have the fireboard suppression system, drainage all along the sides that is nicely tucked away, and that is the drainage, maybe say from the aft deck or from the flybridge. All the drainage is routed down and overboard. I see a lot of double clamped hoses, which is a good sign. Kohler generator, hot water heater, battery for the generator, and a lot of other small items tucked away very neatly and easy to access. That's one thing that I do like about this. If I was down here working, everything is spaced out, it's not crammed together, so you can access it with ease. Now let's go from the bottom of the boat to the top and see what things look like on the flybridge at the controls. Port side of the helm, there's a sun lounger that is 81 inches by 51 inches with two storage accesses underneath, and a smaller lounge over on the starboard side. The helm chairs, this boat has been upgraded to captain chairs. The standard option will be bench seats. Now these are bolstered with flip-up armrests, and they can be adjusted fore, aft, and up and down, and also rotate. And you can flip down a footrest as well. Seated, I have 36 inches of clearance for visibility through the forward windshield, and there are two hatches overhead for some added ventilation. Along the dashboard, I have a glove box on the port side that has dual USB chargers, 3 cup holders. The primary dash has two 16-inch Raymarine screens. And on this side, you can see that I have the new Abacus 360 screen pulled up. And what that is, the boat has cameras all the way around it, and they are all synced together and giving me one 360-degree view of the boat. Earlier we were at the dock, and you could see the dock right alongside, so that would be really handy. Maybe you're solo or short-handed approaching the dock on this wide boat. You have a really good view and sense of your surroundings. You can also see in the middle, there's the Volvo Penta screen for my engines. Two smaller Raymarine screens, one is autopilot, one is currently displaying my depth. Controls for the fireboard fire suppression system, fusion audio control unit for the stereo, a small electrical panel with push buttons for the most used electrical items, controls for the spotlight, and your bow thruster controls. Moving over to the pilot seat, I'll flip the bolster down, and I have really good 360-degree field of view. There's a Ritchie compass. It's not center line of the boat, but it's still within easy viewing. Optimus screen for the steering system, which is center line of the Aquila embossed steering wheel that is on a tilt base. Volvo Penta controls for the engines, and start-stop for them just below. 3 cup holders, VHF radio mounted on the starboard side, and a second glove box to mirror the one on the port side. This helm is asymmetrical with the foredeck access on the starboard side. This bow access makes single-handing easy, so once I'm ready to anchor or have nudged up to the dock, I can get down to the main deck quickly to take care of business. Our test boat has a length overall of 52 foot 2 inches, a beam of 25 foot 6 inches, and drafts 4 foot 2 inches. Test weight was estimated at 54,817 pounds with 72% of the 518 gallon fuel capacity on board and 4 passengers. The wind was blowing around 10 to 15 knots and the sea state was close to 2 feet. The temperature was 77 degrees with 69% humidity. The boat was powered by twin Volvo D6 480s turning Michigan 4-blade props. I'm not sure if you can tell or not, we're getting close to dark as we're heading back in, but we're going to get the boat up on plane. And the way I've been taught to do this is pretty much just go ahead and hammer down on your throttles. Get the boat up on plane to about 18 or 19 knots. So right now we're at 16, 17, 18, now we're at about 19, then I'm going to back it down to about 16, 17 knots, and that's going to give us our most economical cruising speed and where the boat runs the most comfortably. Now, a few other things to note. When you're operating the boat and maneuvering at under on-plane speeds, sometimes, or actually most of the time, it's probably going to be better to do your steering with your sticks rather than your wheel and your rudder, because the boat is just going to respond a little bit better to that. But then once you get on plane, the handling is best with the wheel. We found the top speed to be at 3,680 RPM where the boat went 20.3 knots. Best cruise was at 3,500 RPM where we recorded 19 knots getting 0.5 nautical miles per gallon, giving the boat a range of about 210 nautical miles with a 10% fuel reserve. Granted, it's not very rough out here today, but one thing that the gentlemen have been telling me who operate these boats all the time is if it's a little rough out, it may be actually wiser to speed up rather than slow down. Because as you speed up, the boat's going to come up out of the water a bit more and clear those waves, clear that chop, so that the waves aren't crashing within the tunnel against the bottom of the carriage or the bridge deck. One of the aspects of the Aquila 50 that sets her apart from some other boats in class are her bulbous bows, which have several benefits. First, they lengthen the waterline to increase speed, and second, they reduce wave-making resistance by altering the water flow around the hulls, decreasing drag. This results in greater fuel efficiency and speed. They also add buoyancy forward to lift the bow and reduce pitching moment, making the ride more comfortable, and at the same time, they add more lateral buoyancy, which helps reduce roll. Right now we're cruising at 16.5 knots, getting about 0.5 nautical miles per gallon. That's a pretty good economical range. Aquila's engineers designed the bulbous bows to have their greatest effect at 16 knots where most people like to cruise their catamarans. When we increased the RPM from 3,000 to 3,250, the speed jumped from 11.7 knots, 39% to 16.3 knots, but our fuel consumption only rose 17%. That is what bulbous bows can do. Thanks for joining me on this performance evaluation aboard the new Aquila 50. I'm Captain Trip from Boat Test. Remember, life's better on a boat.